Welcome to FAMORRA. Don't forget to subscribe for more shocking family drama and jaw-dropping stories.
She left me at the altar calling me a man without a future. 10 years later, she stood at my gate in the rain, begging for help. The bells rang like a warning I didn't understand. I stood at the front of the church in a suit that pinched my shoulders, hands sweating around a ring I'd spent 3 months' salary on. Rows of faces turned toward the door, waiting for Isabella. My mother dabbed her eyes. My best friend David squeezed my shoulder and whispered, "Breathe, man." "She's coming." She didn't. Instead, her cousin Mia slipped through the side door, face pale. She walked down the aisle like a messenger in a war movie. I knew before she spoke. "She can't," Mia whispered. "She says she can't marry a man without a future." The words hit my chest and kept falling. Behind Mia, I heard laughter outside. Sharp, male. Mr. Carter, Isabella's father, on his phone, chuckling like he'd pulled his daughter back from a cliff. I stared at the empty doorway where she should have been. The flowers smelled too sweet. The organist looked at me, waiting for a sign. My legs moved on their own. I handed David the ring and walked out into the bright afternoon. Isabella stood by a black car, veil pinned but lifted, eyes hard. "I can't do small," she said. "You're kind." "But kindness isn't rent." "I love you," I said. It sounded like a question. She didn't answer. The driver closed her door. The car pulled away while my future waved at me from the back window and then disappeared around the corner. I took off the jacket that felt like armor and a joke, handed it to David, and said, "Let's go." The church behind me hummed with whispers. I learned that day how loud silence can be. Humiliation has a taste. It's metal and tired. I slept on David's couch for 3 months. I stocked shelves at night and delivered flyers in the morning. When that wasn't enough, I hauled drywall for a contractor who paid cash and insults. Every time my back screamed, I heard Isabella, "You're a man without a future." So I started buying the future in small pieces. I read books with cracked spines about financing and zoning. I watched late-night lectures and paused them to take notes like I was saving my own life. I shadowed a property manager who didn't like me until I fixed a boiler at midnight and didn't send a bill. My first flip was a mess, a 1-bedroom that smelled like old soup and wet socks. I scraped, sanded, painted, begged a plumber for a discount, and sold it for a profit so thin it looked like a rumor. $3,800. It was the best rumor of my life. I met Evelyn, an older investor with eyes that saw through paint. "Numbers tell the story," she said. "Tell me yours." I showed her spreadsheet stained with coffee and hope. She wrote a small check and a bigger promise. "If you keep your word, I'll keep mine." By 27, I made my first million. I didn't celebrate. I bought a better data feed and a cheaper car. I hired Sam, a kid who worked like the floor would vanish if he slowed down. Some nights David forced me to eat actual food. "Don't turn your heart to stone," he warned. She made a choice. "Don't let it choose you forever." I told him I was fine. Then I went home and stared at the ceiling until the sun forgave me. At 32, I signed for the mansion on the hill. A clean number with too many zeros and a view that made the city look like a jewelry box. $4 million for stone and glass and a driveway that curved the way rich people's sentences do. The agent handed me the keys like a crown. I filled the house with reasons. Chandeliers that scattered light like coins. A piano I couldn't play. Art that looked expensive because I didn't know what else it should look like. Guests said, "Congratulations," and "You deserve this." Their words slid off the marble without leaving marks. At dinners, Evelyn toasted to hard work and honest math. Partners smiled with the hunger I recognized. After they left, the house went quiet in a way that made my jaw ache. Ghosts don't need chains. They use air vents and memories. One night, David stood in the doorway of my home office, hands in his pockets, watching me count things I already owned. "You built it all," he said. "But you still look like you're waiting. For what?" I asked. "For her not to have left," he said softly. I laughed like that was funny. "I'm over it." "Okay," he said. He didn't believe me. I didn't either. That week I started a habit. Walking the halls after midnight, touching walls like they might answer. In the mirror by the stairs, I practiced saying, "I'm happy." It sounded like rehearsing for a role I hadn't earned. On a Tuesday, the news ran a story about Mr. Carter. Investigation, fraud, court dates. I watched the anchors talk about him like a lesson. I didn't think about Isabella. I lied. Storms make rich neighborhoods quiet. The rain hit the glass in sheets. I was in the kitchen arguing with a stubborn espresso machine when the intercom buzzed. Sam jogged in, hair damp. Boss, there's someone at the gate. Says she knows you. I tapped the tablet connected to the cameras. The image flickered, then sharpened. Isabella. She stood under the stone arch, soaked to the skin, hair clinging to her cheeks. Her expensive handbag looked like a pet she couldn't let die. She pressed the button again, flinching at the thunder. My chest did a small, stupid thing. The boy inside me, white flowers, empty aisle, stood up. The man who paid for this hill sat him back down. Open it, I said. The gate swung slow. I walked out without an umbrella. The rain found the back of my neck and traced old lines down my spine. She saw me unfolded, knees to wet stone, hands clenched. It was not graceful. Please, she said. Her voice was smaller than I remembered. Please. I have nowhere else. Stand up, I said. The words came out colder than I planned. She tried and failed. I offered my hand. She took it like a person falling off a boat. Up close, I saw the years. Fine lines, tired eyes, the way pride fights before it surrenders. My father, she swallowed. Everything's gone. Houses, accounts. He's sick. The man I left you for? He emptied what I had and disappeared. She breathed like it hurt. I was wrong. The storm made our breath look like ghosts. Sam hovered by the door, unsure. Behind the fence, a neighbor's curtain twitched. The hill has eyes. Come inside, I said at last. You'll ruin your lungs out here, she flinched. You'll help me? I'll let you dry off, I said. That's what I said. She looked at the house like it had an opinion. You did it, she whispered. You built a future? Yeah, I said. I did. We stood in the foyer, rain dripping from her onto the stone, puddles shining like small moons. Sam brought a towel. Isabella took it with hands that shook. She looked around, eyes catching on the chandelier, the art, the staircase. It's beautiful, she said. It shouldn't be yours, the boy in me thought. And then I felt ashamed of him. Why are you here? I asked. Because you were the only person who loved me without a ledger, she said. Because you were kind. Because I was a coward. Tears cut clean paths down her face. Please, I can work. I can learn. I'll do anything, just don't send me back to the nothing. The plea landed where my ribcage used to be. David's voice tapped the memory. Don't turn your heart to stone. Evelyn's too. Numbers tell the story. My life flashed, not like a movie, but like a ledger. Hours worked, roofs fixed, rents lowered, hands shaken, nights alone. I stepped closer. She smelled like rain and old perfume. Isabella, I said, you didn't just leave me. You chose a story where I was small because it made you feel big. I know, she whispered. I can't undo it. I can only say I'm sorry. I believed her. I also believed myself. I turned to Sam. Call the Maple House. Tell them I'm covering a room for one night. Make sure she eats. In the morning, get her the number for the women's legal clinic and the community housing office. Put it all in her phone. Isabella grabbed my sleeve. Please don't make me go. I gently pried her fingers loose. I'm not your punishment, I said. And I'm not your rescue. I'm a door you closed. Tonight I'm a dry porch. That's all. She looked at me with the eyes of a 10 years ago bride that never walked. You don't hate me? No, I said, and was surprised to hear the truth. Hate kept me busy. Work set me free, she laughed once, broken. You talk like the rain, Sam returned with a coat. Car's ready, he said. I walked her to the door. The storm had softened to a hard mist. At the threshold, she turned. You were always enough, she said. I was the empty one, I didn't answer. The gate closed behind her with the slow dignity of boundaries well kept. Back inside, the house was quiet in a new way. Not hollow, clear, David called before I could sit down. I heard, he said. Word travels on hills. You okay? I think so, I said. I thought revenge would taste like dessert. It tastes like water. That's better, he said. Dessert ends. I walked the halls, touched the walls, and listened. The chandelier hummed its small electricity song. Somewhere in the dark, the boy I had been stood at the aisle and finally sat down. I went to my office, opened a drawer, and took out the ring I never returned, the one that pinched my fingers 10 years ago. I placed it on the desk and whispered, "Thank you for getting me here." Then I closed the drawer gently, like putting a child to bed. Outside, the rain stopped. In the morning, the city would wake, Rents would be due, roofs would need patching, and I would go back to work. The only revenge that ever lasts. Tonight I stood in the doorway of the life I built and let the quiet be an answer no one could mishear. Would you choose to comfort the past that broke you, or protect the future you built alone?
Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more family drama stories. See you in the next video.